I believe the first motion is Mr. Elmer's motion.
Good morning, Chairperson. This is CLF's motion to admit the ISO's September 28, 2018 QDN qualification determination notification issued to Invenergy pertaining to its Turbine 2. No party has objected to the motion. Invenergy says on page 1 of its response to the motion, Invenergy does not object to the board admitting the FCA 13 QDN as a full exhibit subject to confidential treatment. I have confirmed with Mr. Blazer that Invenergy does not want the first 2 pages of the QDN treated as a confidential document. The remaining 8-page addendum is subject to the non-disclosure agreement, and CLF is withdrawing its request to admit that 8-page addendum that is subject to confidential treatment. There is, however, one additional matter pertaining to this motion and to Invenergy's response that needs to be addressed. Invenergy says in its response to CLF's motion, and I want to direct the attention of the board members to the last 2 paragraphs of Invenergy's response, starting in the last line of page 2 and continuing to the middle of page 3. Invenergy says, quote, CLF's motion also contends that, begin internal quotes, the QDN provides evidence of the degree to which Invenergy has misstated facts to the EFSB, the parties, and the public, end internal quotes, CLF motion at 1. The QDN does nothing of the sort. CLF does not provide any support for this unfounded statement. Here's the support for that statement, which is not unfounded. Not only does the QDN, to which there's no objection to having it admitted, show that Invenergy has misled the public, the parties, the EFSB, and the ISO, but it shows that Invenergy has misled the parties, the public, the EFSB, and the ISO on a matter of huge, key, central importance to the entire docket, and that is the crucial commercial operation date, the projected COD, commercial operation date of the plant. When this docket was opened on October 29th, 2015, with a date stamp of 3:52 p.m., in addition to a 473-page application, there was a 4-page cover letter signed by John Nyland. The key point in Mr. Nyland's cover letter was that Invenergy wanted, quote, expedited review, unquote, of the application because, quote, the commercial operation of the plant will be required by June 1st, 2019, with significant financial penalties due if this capacity obligation is not met, unquote. The COD, the commercial operation date, is of key, central, critical importance. to the ISO under the FERC-approved ISO tariff. The commercial operation date was the reason that the ISO terminated Invenergy's Turbine 2 a year ago from participating in Forward Capacity Auction 11, because it wouldn't be ready on time, the commercial operation date would not be met. The reason that Turbine 2 was disqualified from FCA 12 was exactly the same lack of meeting the commercial operation date. And the reason that the ISO involuntarily terminated the capacity supply obligation on Turbine 1 was failure to make the commercial operation date. It's viewed by the ISO as critical, it's viewed as by Invenergy as being critical, which is why they emphasized it so much. So what happened? CLF, knowing the key central importance of the commercial operation date, served a discovery request on Invenergy, which they responded to on January 12th of this year, 2018. CLF's discovery request 14-5. A. Does Invenergy believe that it remains possible for it to have a commercial operation date of May 31st, 2021, or June 1st, 2021, given the failure to sign the LGIA, that's Large Generator Interconnection Agreement, by December 1st, 2017? B, if yes, set forth in detail the basis of this belief and explain specifically how this could be possible in light of the missed LGIA deadline and the ISO tariff requirements pertaining to sequential scheduling of a project's in-service date, initial synchronization date, and commercial operation date. Invenergy's answer, signed by Chris Zadlow, Z-A-D-L-O, on January 12, 2018, says, A, yes, Invenergy believes that it remains possible for it to have a commercial operation date of May 31st, 2021. B, Invenergy is an experienced developer and builder of energy infrastructure. Specifically, over the last 17 years, Invenergy has developed, built, and/or owns and operates 400 miles of transmission, 55 high-voltage substations, and over 16,000 megawatts of solar, storage, thermal, and wind facilities. Invenergy's own construction experience and experience working with other utilities in the U.S. and internationally suggests that the work identified in the LGIA, Large Generator Interconnection Agreement, can be constructed typically in 24 to 30 months. That discovery response from Invenergy made absolutely no sense. So CLF tried to help Invenergy out. We put the question to them again and pointed them this time to the actual ISO documents that showed that this was not possible, because the commercial operation date is a matter of key central importance to the ISO. CLF supplemental request to data request 14-5. Conservation Law Foundation's previous data request 14-5 inquired about Invenergy's expected commercial operation date. Invenergy filed and served its response on January 12, 2018. That response is attributed to Chris Zadlow, Invenergy's vice president. Please provide an updated response about Invenergy's expected commercial operation date and describe how Invenergy has accounted for A, the FERC ruling in the case ISO New England Inc. 162 FERC, paragraph 61,058, paren, January 26th, 2018, close paren. B, the project duration estimate found on page 3 of the September 12, 2016 Steady State System Impact Study Report for Generator Interconnection Request Q Project 489. That's the ISO document. It is subject to the NDA, and I'm not going to say here in open court what is revealed there, but we are directing Invenergy to the ISO document that shows that there is no chance that that commercial operation date of 2021 can possibly be met. And C, the tentative final hearing schedule circulated by EFSB counsel Patty Lucarelli on January 26, 2018. Invenergy's response, February 13, 2018, also signed by Chris Zadlow, says, Invenergy Thermal Development LLC has not changed the commercial operation date, paren, COD, close paren, for Clear River Energy Center 1, and is working with ISO New England and National Grid to determine what changes, if any, may be needed to the interim milestone dates included in the LGIA, Large Generator Interconnection Agreement, while still accommodating the COD, commercial operation date, of June 1st, 2021. It should be noted that the project duration estimate found on page 3 of the September 12, 2016 Steady State System Impact Study Report for generator interconnection requests no longer applies. That was the last statement to the parties or to the EFSB about Invenergy's expected commercial operation date, a matter of key central importance to the ISO, the reason that they got their second turbine disqualified twice and their CSO on their first turbine discontinued. Now we turn to the ISO's QDN, issued on September 28, 2018, page 2. I've yellow highlighted the relevant text. The ISO has determined that commercial operation of the aforementioned project is unlikely to occur by the start of the 2022 to 2023 CCP, that's Capacity Commitment Period, beginning June 1st, 2022. The ISO is saying that it has determined that Invenergy will not be ready in 2021, will not be ready in 2022, and may or may not, maybe possibly be ready in 2023. The short of it is that the reason that CLF in its moving papers said that the QDN provides evidence of the degree to which Invenergy has misstated facts to the EFSB, the parties, and the public is that the QDN reflects the degree to which Invenergy has misstated facts to the EFSB, the parties, and the public. And I do note again that there's no objection from any party to the full admission of this document as an exhibit.
Chairperson, the Town of Oroville fully supports and joins in CLF's motion regarding the QDN. We would like to draw the board's attention to a couple of points set forth in the QDN. The September 28, 2018 QDN from ISO regarding Invenergy's Unit 2 states once again, for the second year, that Unit 2 is, quote, not qualified, quote, to participate in FCA 13, which is going to take place in February of 2019. This is the same thing that happened last year with regard to FCA 12. The reasons given by ISO set forth in the QDN. First, are continued delays in 1, the permitting process, 2, the transmission build-out, and 3, equipment procurement. Second, ISO cites, quote, significant uncertainty with respect to the schedule, quote, created by, quote, the recent filing by the ISO, omissions, to terminate, omissions, Unit 1, omissions, from the forward capacity market, end quote. Third, Invenergy has, quote, postponed the ordering of the major power plant equipment, end quote. As you know, Invenergy responded that it does not object to the board admitting the QDN as a full exhibit, subject to the confidential treatment. It appears we will not need to treat anything as confidential because all the parties have agreed that the attachment will not be moved into evidence. We are not asking that this board take administrative notice of the confidential attachment, just the 2-page QDN. So therefore, we support the motion, we join in the motion, and we believe taking administrative notice of it is appropriate. Thank you.
Now I'm on. Sorry. It's been a while. I forgot how to do this. Members of the board, as far as... There we go. Can you hear me now? Okay. As far as the actual point of the motion, we are in agreement. The first 2 pages may be admitted as full. The attachment will not be part of the record at all, as I understand it. That's an agreement we reached before this hearing. The only thing I'd add is the version that Mr. Elmer handed up has some highlighting on it, which is not part of the document as it was issued by ISO. So I would request that we make the actual document part of the record and not the part that's been highlighted or adulterated by Mr. Elmer. We have copies of the original version, of the actual version. We'd suggest that it be substituted for the one that Mr. Elmer handed up. I won't waste more of this board's time on what is really an agreed motion. As far as the balance of, in particular, Mr. Elmer's ad hominem comments, we have complete confidence that this board, when all is said and done, will be fully able to separate fact from fiction and fact from hyperbole and exaggeration, and we'll leave it at that.
CLF has no objection to providing a clean copy of the document for the EFSB.
That exhibit will be marked CLF 18.
So Invenergy does not want to respond to CLF's argument regarding the misrepresentation.
Chairperson, I don't believe this is the appropriate time for that. We can certainly address it if you'd like, but I believe it requires no response other than the original statements that by us that Mr. Elmer referred to were made roughly 2 years ago, or really actually almost now 3 years ago when we filed the application. The QDN, the qualification determination notification, that is the subject of this motion, speaks for itself as to what has occurred in the interim and what ISO New England's view of the schedule is today, not as of 3 years ago, but today. Mr. Elmer continues to state that ISO has terminated our capacity supply obligation with respect to Unit 1, that is in fact not the case, as we all know. And it's the reason why this hearing has been held in abeyance pending a ruling from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. ISO has requested termination. The ultimate decision on that request will be made by FERC, we believe, sometime on or about November 19. Again, I don't believe that it is necessary or appropriate to address Mr. Elmer's ad hominem comments at this point. He's been making them since his opening statement. He's been making them long before that. I believe the appropriate place to address what is actually going on with the schedule and ultimately with the issue of need, which is what Mr. Elmer claims all of this relates to. And you know our position, the CSO termination, even if it ultimately is effective and FERC rules or FERC approves ISO's request, is irrelevant to the issue of need. We will be addressing that, I believe, one day in December and then several days in January when the need witnesses testify, and then ultimately in post-hearing briefs. That will be the appropriate time to address what we view as fact versus fiction.
Chairperson, the Invenergy documents that I read were not 3 years old. Invenergy's response to CLF's motion was dated October 15, 2018. It's a few days ago. And the second of the discovery requests was dated February 13, 2018. That's not 3 years ago. And Invenergy has continued to give the false date of 2021 to the EFSB, to the ISO, and to the parties. Of course, Invenergy has a continuing obligation under the rules to supplement answers if they're no longer correct. I don't recall having made any ad hominem comments in this hearing. But I would respectfully direct the EFSB's attention to the last paragraph of EFSB's filing on this subject dated October 15th.
So is there anything further on that motion? And then, should we consider CLF's other motion second?
Just one comment for the transcript. I think Mr. Elmer misspoke. I think you sent the EFSB's last filing on October 15th when you meant to say the applicant.
Yes.
Just to correct it for the record.
Thank you for that correction.
The first motion is CLF's motion requesting full admission of the QDN for FCA 13. This is an evidentiary motion that does not require a vote. The parties agreed to the admission of the first 2 pages of the QDN. So it will be admitted as a full exhibit. It will be marked as CLF 19. And that motion is approved.